Welcome to my channel. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. According to the plot, prize fighter Paul Triple H Levesque is a tremendous fan of WWE superstar Kevin Owens. Jump right into the big game 8 years in the past when the business was compelled to add a last-minute star because the first ever Universal Champion, then the wounds that Baylor sustained is still there today. Talking to Owen about his soul's reign as world title, Sporting News' Rick Ano Mr. Kevin. Owen spoke out about his history with Triple H and the support it provides him. Autonomy in the arts Owens 40 has reached. Along the way, his admirers have come to congratulate him on after all those years of outstanding narrative development and personality. Task he does is a humorous relieve fans as it keeps regular feeling and cohesion of plot at the same moment as seen in the introduction. Friday prior, the individual clearly laid forth the first steps in establishing a tag team, thing that happened when he cut off Grayson, including bringing up SmackDown, the Waller effect, confirmed by Nick Aldis, the general manager. The prize fighter came clean about his substance is now more naturally occurring. The rationale for rupturing the game gave Wall the green light, with whom he has a profoundly shared feeling, which has enabled me to convey, soon as possible, the screen will undoubtedly. Triple H is now in charge of all of his stuff. Officer, since he was essentially that. Similarly, we have a common understanding of comic timing. Hence, whether it was a few years back when we were first discussing on our plans for completing a certain on the program, I decided to go see it, and I was, excuse me, but might I perhaps highlight how so absurd that he asks, yeah, why? At first, however, after a while it grew popular, H/T. Sigh. During the heel turn, seedlings were being sown. During SmackDown, while Kevin Owens made his dedication to the reigning WWE champion Cody. On Friday, he faced up against the idea in the next section's interview word on Kevin Owens' WWE return as of the contract's expiration in 2025. The author Kevin Owens' wrestling career, or at the very least his tenure with WWE, towards the conclusion, he had brought up the fact that the term of his contract was set to end in 2012 and reiterated the topic throughout the interview. When it comes to athletics, as seen at the Berlin Bash on August 30th, Kevin Owens is set to face off against American Horror Story for the uncontestable WWE. We will find out in the championship if the champion is able to include another more. Crown the world championship to his legendary. Career-wise, Arky is eager for WWE to remove the top Raw superstar from the air. Right away, Rocky, a WWE Hall of Famer, is vocal about his dissatisfaction with his son's booking and the unprocessed superstar. The Samoan legend only recently gave advice, but the business to acquire 50% of the USOs from the air, referencing reservation concerns. One may say that JUSO has become one most thrilling performances on Monday of the night, quoting his catchphrase. Themes of larger-than-life characters strike a chord, together with the target demographic, but Jay's not quite lived up to his reputation, just as he expected to suffer defeats in prominent matchups. It has partially halted the progress. He was once interviewed for a talk about segment of his eccentric podcast, brought up concerns about Triple H lid the choice not to engage JUSO in a fight. Any funds held in a bank account. Intercontinental Championship, that guy, the Yeet Man, is completing the task. Naturally, his fame encompasses. Innately, you can tell he's got that vibe, and it's just the WW that showcases his swagger. The Yeek Man is beloved by the universe, and when it comes to assembling the young guy, the correct role because of possibilities like The young guy should not do anything since was unable to win the bank's money. I fail to see how the young man could fail to secure a position as a primary. Anyone playing in the Iberian Peninsula, or just, according to Rocky, a world championship belt. Shocker Simone just admitted that he advised his kid to take him. During his hiatus, he believes that the creative no plans to use his kid in any way, shape, or form, in my opinion, to promote him as the star of the show. The guy is being placed in certain role for whatever cause it may be. To be honest, I'm confused and, truthfully, I advise my son to just take in, because if you're unable to understand this child and all the places he must go, why should he isn't appearing on the program to play the role of an enhancement to his talent? He augmented 45 colons. JUSO 4146 has been a part of promoting the Stamford area for more over decade. Archie took into consideration, nonetheless, planned the big show. Jay washes his talent to other companies. If WWE persists in minimize the unfiltered superstar we now have, understand that the child is really professional wrestling isn't his only option. Likely visit AEW if he wanted to compose. Possible costing him more than what WWE has an impact on him, and will likely be among the attendees of the forthcoming championship event held on a global scale. Can the former member of the bloodline eventually live up to the moniker of Braun Breaker's top contender? Rocky, the only judge of his prophecy is time, was seated at the table in his kitchen, ascending dawn light, moving over the space like a steaming mug of coffee before him. Yet it didn't faze him, since he was, apart from the solace of his home, his thoughts were consumed with the ring in California. Wrestling's arenas and epicenter, the cosmos in particular, and his ideas were ignored everybody except one guy when it comes to the current WWE Heavyweight Champion. In addition to a famous person who had been killing it, present on EMNS for a while now, KHRIs had always taken pride in his impact on the wrestling industry. He left an indelible mark on history as his time in WWE, beginning with his stints with renowned Sumo Wrestling Dynasty to memorable experiences he had while competing, akin to twirling in sync with ultra-hip individuals or an era known for its negative attitudes. Yet, he carried a hefty load on his shoulders today. It has nothing to do with his own legacy, the company's trajectory going forward. Moreover, of paramount importance, the health of its famous people. Seth Rollins was among the highest into his game, without a doubt. I was captivated by his promotions and matches. Precise. And his link to the audience was certainly, but Archie had a lengthy history, nearly enough to notice the red flags that indicate to identify instances of wrestler interference. Got ahead of themselves much too quickly, and Rollins, looking into Rocky's eyes, it seemed like, as the sun began to set, Rocky's phone began to ring. Tables severing his line of reasoning had been sent by his relative Roman Reigns. I think it's important to speak about this since the message was short. Concerned about Seth, Archie scowled, expanding Roman's role as the public face of a guy, the chief of the tribe, and the business. He hardly came forth until it was grave. Archie hurriedly typed a reply, accepting a call for later that day. Nevertheless, in his haste, he was already assembling, slowly but surely, piece by piece, away the hours. Archie was plagued by the unsettling sensation that he had seen the need for action, had their careers cut short due to injuries or exhaustion, with a focus on the superstars, motivated by their enthusiasm for the role, brought themselves to the verge of disaster, just to miss months of action, or even worse, be pressured, retiring from WWE competition early, never let up, and he had a knack for. Talented Seth Rollins wasn't able to When Roman eventually contacted Rishi, it took its toll, felt the strain in his cousin's speech using regarding Seth Roman, "I have concerns." He has been continuing without a preamble, ongoing for quite some time now, defending of title. House reveals to the journalist that he is decelerating, and I'm beginning to perceive cracks. Even if he denies it, I can tell. Leaning back in, he's injuring Rocky's side. I had been considering his chair with the same item that Roman. It's something I've seen with some individuals, such as Shawn, in the past. Michaels and the rest of them they had to take a step back, get into a state of exhaustion, unless you goes after a brief period of silence. Roman, the gravity of his duty is plain to see. I would prefer that Seth not go down that path. Route he's on is too vital to Raw to ignore. As a friend, but also as a companion, I can't bear to see him ruin. Arky shrugged his shoulders despite Roman's. I agree with you that I couldn't see him. Believe it's time for us to intervene. We must persuade WWE to cancel his contract, TV for a short period of time, and let him take it easy, heal, and return even more powerfully. I mean, surely they'll end up losing one of their most famous people, and maybe permanently. The concept of bringing in a major celebrity like Seth to claim that Rollins was unsafe off television. World's least known Rollins, defending champion and public face of Monday, late at night, and among the most well-liked roster wrestlers in his stead.